Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. I'm your host, Kiyan Sobhani, joined by my equal co-host, Diego Lorijn, on a Tuesday. Diego is back from the beach and doing some work covering beach football. I'm excited to talk about that with him, but more importantly, the Clasico is coming up. And even though each of us have a game to play from now until the Clasico, and it's a little bit premature to talk about Clasico, we are putting a twist on it. We're starting a new series where we go through and talk about the histories of Real Madrid and Barcelona, era by era, up until present day. Today is the first installment. We are going 1899 to 1928. Of course, 1928 is the first year La Liga came into existence. And Diego and I did have a bit of a misunderstanding heading into this one. I thought we were doing a combined Barca-Real Madrid 11 of that time period. Diego was just going to do a deep dive of the history. And I imagine as we go through this series, it'll get more heated and more heated and more heated because we'll start breaking it down, combined 11s by decade, starting to talk about combined Real Madrid Barca 11s of like 2009 to 2019. Oof, it's going to be a bloodbath, my God. But that's like 10 episodes away. For now, we're starting 1902 for Real Madrid. That's when they came into existence. Barcelona came into existence 1899. So they have a 3-year advantage. So hopefully Diego comes in with some heat. Those 3 years better been pretty good because you guys have 3 years over us. 3 extra years where you can incorporate your superstars into the discussion. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Diego to the show. Diego, looking tanned, looking great. What's up?
I am looking at I'm looking at myself and the camera here. Yeah, I did pick up a little color down south. We were in Andalusia for the beach soccer Mundialito. 4 teams representing the men's division. Those were Spain, Brazil, United Arab Emirates, and Mexico. And for the women's, it was Spain, Portugal, England, and the US of A. And highly entertaining, may I say. It was my second crack at commentating beach soccer, Kiyan, as you know. 3 weeks ago or so, I did the Euro Beach Soccer League Super Final. That was a lot more intense, more days, 6 days, 8 matches a day. This was 3 days with 4 matches a day. So like half the workload, let's say, and a lot more enjoyable, in particular because I got to live the action right, from the stadium itself. And that, as anybody knows, whether you're a journalist, a reporter, commentator, or a fan, I mean, experience a game from ground zero where the action takes place is a lot more intense, enjoyable, and obviously dynamic, vibrant, give it whatever adjective you want. And so, yeah, this one was great, man. Hugely enjoyable. Some great talent at display, some absolute formidable goals, and just, you can really separate those that are professionals at this game from those that are, like, let's say, the newcomers. And in the case of Brazil and Spain, Portugal as well, I'm talking about both in the men's and the women's division. They were a step ahead of their competitors. It was great. I mean, it was a repeat final for the women's, where Spain managed to just edge out Portugal for the Mundialito final. I say a repeat because it was the final in the Euro Beach Soccer League Super Final as well. Spain won 3-2 on that occasion and 2-1 in Ayamonte, Andalusia. And for the men, it was Spain, Brazil. And, Spain lost the final against Italy 3 weeks ago. 5-4 that one ended. And they went on to lose this one as well. It was very close. It ended 7-6 in favor for La Selección, for Brazil. And but Spain went up 3 times on the scoreline by double digit or 2 goal cushion, and each time Brazil was just coming back, and in the end pulled off the 7-6 dramatic win in a pretty dramatic and thrilling fashion, I guess you could say, to pick up the Mundialito title. 15 Mundialito titles for Brazil. They are hands down the absolute masters of the game of beach football. Many would say, well, Go figure. I think it's obviously the most obvious pick. It all started in Copacabana in 1994. So we talk about head starts in these 3 years that Barca had over Madrid in this case, but Brazil, without a shadow of a doubt, gotten not just a head start, but they're just so good at this game. You can tell that they are like a fish in water when it comes to their maneuvering, not just executing these acrobatic bicycle kicks that seem to defy gravity, but also the way they find each other, the way they, like I said, move over the pitch, find the space, and just banging goals from literally any given angle, any given distance. You can't take your eyes off of the match for a second, because just like that, a goal can be blasted in, even from the goalkeeper themselves. They'll get in on the offensive action a lot. And it was fun, man. It's entertaining. I gotta say, dude, I enjoy it a lot, because there are 3 periods of 12 minutes. It's intense. It's fast paced. It's similar to basketball in that regard, which obviously I'm a big fan of. And if traditional football nowadays can kind of be very boring, if I may say so, and I've said this on this pod many times. With the current state of affairs in the game of football. Last night I was watching, Greece Holland. It was an absolute fucking snooze. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to drop F-bombs here unnecessarily, but Jesus Christ.
I mean, also like the Netherlands are not in their best period.
Sure.
They're missing a ton of players. I watched the France game. I did not watch the Greece one. I thought like Xavi Simons continues to be like a bright spot. He's like one of the guys that like makes it a little bit more fun. He actually takes onus to take the game to the opponent, tries to break lines. He's a really brilliant player. Had like a really really nice flick against Greece where he does like a nutmeg kind of like flick.
Have you ever seen that before? That was crazy.
Probably seen it somewhere, but certainly usually like in those situations I've seen the dummy nutmeg where the player just lets the ball go through his legs.
Lets the ball go. Mm-hmm.
But he actually flicked it on purpose between the legs. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw that. I did notice that. That was nice. But other than that, man, it was just not an enjoyable watch. So I enjoyed doing this. It's a new experience, a bit of work, a bit of money, and like I said, new frontiers being open. So
I think the fast-paced nature you were describing of beach football is kind of the reason that sometimes like the arcade version of things is often more fun. Like when we play FIFA with me and my friends, we often, instead of playing the full 11 on 11, there's like that Volta mode where you can go on like the futsal courts and play this like arcade style with like 5-on-5. You can choose kind of the formations, how many players you want on each team. But also kind of like I think it was me and Lucas, we were talking about this, that sometimes the actual sport is not as entertaining as like the variations of it or like different levels of it. Like in college basketball, for example, if you watch a college basketball Final Four game and then go and watch an NBA game like right after, it's like going from
regular season NBA
rave to a classical concert. Like it's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then obviously when you get to the NBA playoffs, it's a different kind of atmosphere and different kind of intensity. I imagine like beach football and futsal can be kind of the same idea. It's a little bit more fast paced, a little bit more intense, shorter bursts of explosive action.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, like, does every team in the tournament, are they just by default a warmer country? Like, will you ever see? Does Canada have a team?
You know what? Canada. Well, the U.S. has now formed a team. The women's team, as I said, was there, but Russia is actually ranked, if I'm not mistaken, third, if not even second in world rankings. Russia has been dominating. So that's been like the last 6, 7, 8 years or so that Russia's really exploded onto the scene of beach soccer. The thing is that since the Ukraine conflict, they've not been allowed to partake in any of the tournaments because of the sanctions. So they are suspended from these tournaments. Otherwise, Russia would have been in the mix for sure. Yeah, they're a powerhouse. I was surprised too, though. Yeah.
Have you been watching any of the international games? I imagine you were just kind of busy with the beach football.
No, I did. I watched both Holland, France, and Holland,
Greece.
Greece, and I watched Spain, Norway. And did I watch Spain? What was the other one?
It was Spain, Norway, and the one before that was
Forget now.
Scotland, the 2-0.
Spain, Scotland. Right, right. So actually, I missed out on the vast majority of that, the Spain, Scotland. Um,
There's actually enough for us to talk about if we just talked about current affairs. Like the Scotland game had a bit of controversy. The Norway game was interesting. Um, there's actually like today. There's two games that I'm gonna watch that I'm really looking forward to.
what do you
One
watch?
is Italy and England,
Oh yeah, I'll watch that.
and tonight, I mean, this is gonna be the time difference will be crazy for you, but Uruguay Brazil is gonna be bonkers. I think I predict.
That'll be a good watch.
Yeah.
In England, Italy, they are. Well, I can check myself, but do you know where they're sitting in the standings? Or
England can basically qualify, I think, with a draw. I mean, a win, I think, ensures it. Italy have to win, I think.
okay,
Well, let me pull it up. Like, I know that Italy's situation is much more desperate than England's. But let me just
and
double
Italy
check.
they've got some amends to make as well after obviously falling short in the
Yeah,
World Cup.
so Italy, England are first with 13 points. Italy are second with 10. They're tied with Ukraine, but they do have a game in hand. But if they lose to Italy, they could be in a bit of trouble because then they'll essentially be tied with Ukraine on points. And,
Okay.
you know, it could be tricky for them. So I think they'll be safe because they have the tiebreaker on Ukraine for now, but and the rest of the game should be easy for them. But anyways, it should be interesting. I'm going to be watching that.
And what did you make of the? Let's. I mean, we could take some minutes here to focus on Spain. I don't like Luis de la Fuente's approach to this team, man. I don't. I know that maybe that's going against the Madridista grain or the narrative that I'm picking up from Madrid, or at least the Madrid-based newspapers that are hailing Luis de la Fuente. The Marca and As couldn't get enough of it on the following day, saying the solidity is back. He has won over the dressing room. This is it. It was for me. It was painful to watch these two games as well, despite the fact obviously I was happy and for Gabi and his individual performance, but you know, the other like the takeaway that I got from all of the games, but in particular, you know, I was excited for Spain Norway, and I was excited to see Ansu in the starting lineup, and I was excited to see Haaland finally face a team like Spain, and I'm like, it was the thing that I appreciate about beach soccer, I guess, is that you really see the stars come out and you see the individual brilliance shine on this stage as well on these platforms. And I was disappointed with Haaland, and I was disappointed with Spain collectively, even though obviously the result is good, and yes, we're now qualified, but I'm just left wanting more, man. I'm just left wanting more, and I was curious about your impressions, because again, reading the newspapers, it was like I felt like these people had watched a whole different match altogether.
That's interesting. So I don't really have too many complaints with the way Spain played. I mean, I think they deserve to win both of those games. And from a selfish Madridista standpoint, it's just really nice to see Fran Garcia get minutes at the national team level because he's not playing much with us, and I'm just kind of worried about his development stalling. I don't really have much issue with the way Spain are playing. The one where I think was the one game that I was really blown away that they just got outplayed was the Scotland game. But I told you this when it happened, that I'm out on
Bit of
De
a
La
robbery,
Fuentes.
that one. Sorry.
Which one? The one that Scotland won or the one that Spain won? I can't
Well, the one
remember.
that
What was it?
Well, there was a bit of controversy there with the penalty that Spain got, and some penalty claims for Scotland that didn't go that way.
Either way, Scotland were just a better team that day. And but I told you this when it happened. I'm out on De La Fuentes no matter what. Even if he wins 200 World Cups before he dies, the moment he clapped for Luis Rubiales, I was like, I'm out on this guy. I'm out. Not supporting him anymore. So it has nothing to do with Madridista or not. But I don't know. The team looks fine. There's a nice injection of a lot of young players in this team, and it's a nice mix of players. I think it's fine.
You think that this team has what it takes to push for to be title contenders in this upcoming Euros?
I don't think they have the ceiling of a France, for example. But we've seen this with Spain a lot. I mean, we saw it recently in the last World Cup, but also the European Championship before that. That they can also beat anyone despite not being the favorite because they have a degree of control in the ball. They have really good runners. They have a really good midfield. So I could see them going toe-to-toe with anybody. But they don't have the ceiling and the superstar firepower as some of the other teams. But I don't see why they can't make a deep run, to be honest.
I guess it's the same old story in a way of
a little bit.
They don't have that reference strike, that reference point in the forwards. They don't have a Torres. They don't have a Villa. They've got an age Morata
who's playing well, to be fair.
He scored against Scotland.
He's playing well. And that the thing is, they don't have that star Diego, but they just have a lot of really good players who know how to play, and they have a lot of depth. And I think that goes a long way too. So,
are you starting Oyarzabal or Ansu?
Are those my only two options right now? I mean, Oyarzabal's not having a great season, I don't think. Where do you...
Ansu was not great against Norway, and it pains me to say.
Yeah, I just don't know really. I haven't followed Ansu
at halftime pretty much.
Know how he's doing this season.
Yeah. No, but even for De La Fuente, I mean, he was subbed off and halftime pretty much. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I think it's unfortunate how his career is panning out, and even given the opportunities, like you said, with Brighton, I know he scored a goal. He's had a handful of chances that he has missed, but throughout the 90 minutes, I'm not sure about his aportación, about what he brings to the English side. But for Spain, it leaves you remembering the good old days, which is hard to say about a kid that is what is he, 2019.
So this is a bit crazy to say, maybe, I don't know. But because the third, right now he has Morata and Ferran, right? Let's just assume, I don't think this is true. I think it's way too early to know exactly, but let's assume that those are two starting spots taken. That third one is kind of underwhelming to me. If this was Oyarzabal of 3 years ago, it would be much more exciting choice. But let's say if it's why not put Yamal?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was injured, obviously, for these.
Just a general point, though. But
yeah.
Why not go with the box? Why not go with the box midfield? You could squeeze in Rodri, Pedri when he's healthy, Gavi. You could still put Fabian in there. You could bring in Ceballos. You could also do Brahim on one of the wings. Brahim's played well for Real Madrid this season. There are options that he has. I don't know if you would look at these options seriously, but one of the options could be just copying the box midfield and going with four midfielders and then Morata and Ferran up top. That could be an option.
You think it was down to Spain? Like, do you give credit to the Laportes, etc., the back line for canceling out Haaland, or are you one of those that is like concerned about both his current run in the Premier League as well as
Who,
for
Haaland? No,
Norway?
I think people who are concerned about Haaland are out of their mind, quite frankly. Man, like, we're so fickle as football fans. The guy, like, won 20 trophies, scored 3 million goals, and then he has, like, a little bit of a patch where he's not scoring, and it was, oh, he's not as good as we thought. Like, it's like he can't really do that much on his own. I'm not saying Norway are, like, you know, as bad as, like, Pakistan, who just won, who like just won, I think, a qualifier for the first time yesterday or something like that. I don't
Oh
know
shit!
why Pakistan is catching strays in this podcast, but
Seriously, throwing randoms in,
I
dude.
they came to my
It's
mind
okay.
because I literally just saw a stat that they won like their first qualifier. It's not like Norway are like just like this terrible team, but you know, like they're also not, don't have the ability to control the game and generate a huge abundant amount of offensive chances for Holland to take advantage of. So I'm not going to begin to pin blame on Holland in a situation like that. I've seen some extreme takes on football Twitter about Holland, which are just out of this world. Um,
Were you surprised? I mean, with somebody like Odegaard, though, not being able to connect with the big man.
yeah.
Again, did you pin that to ¿cómo se llama? Le Normand and the Laporte uh, central defensive duo of Spain, or
I think it's just a combination of like, this is my assessment of it. Um, I think it was, I like the amount that Odegaard actually got in the ball and his passing was generally good. But I didn't think he had that many opportunities to play the killer ball, the
hmm
way Norway were set up and the way Spain were set up. That's my assessment.
hmm
I also thought Laporte and like just was really good. The thing is, um, I kind of like I'd be curious to know what your main criticism of Spain is. Is it that it's not um like what is it? Like is like when you say you don't like the approach.
I just don't think it's um, as entertaining to watch. It's
Mhm.
clear that Spain is still opting for possession. It's clear that Spain still, if we look at the Norway game, deserved the win, created more chances, scored two goals, with one narrowly being disallowed. But I'm not really feeling it. I'm not connecting with it, with this squad very much. And neither was I necessarily at a particular point with Lucho, and that might have to do with the fact that there's just some that final piece of the puzzle in the front line is missing.
But yeah, but I think some of that has to do with the fact that we were accustomed like one generation ago
Sure,
to one of the
sure,
greatest teams we've ever seen.
sure.
And so like these guys are not there. Xavi's
Yeah.
not there, Iniesta's not there, Villa's not there, Ramos is not there, PK's not there. And like not even though like we had just so many great role players like beyond
hmm
them, whether it was players like Isco or Carvajal at his peak. Um, and like we just had so many good players. I say we like yeah, I kind of go
You
back
always
and forth.
said.
Sometimes I say we, sometimes I say Spain. It's not necessarily we, uh, but you know what I mean. Like, but it's just like I don't think we have those players anymore to play like
Right,
that every game,
right.
and
hmm
that's why Lucho's iteration of Spain was just a little bit different stylistically.
hmm
And I don't know, like sometimes you just need the players, man.
But you have a Rodri, you have Gavi. Obviously,
Yeah.
Pedri is injured. And Fabian Ruiz is a skilled player, but is in my books, not a Pedri, but I do have hope that a trident like that in the midfield
You know what concerns me
can be
more
that.
is like, can we just see Pedri play football, man? Like,
Yeah,
holy
yeah,
crap! I hate the fact that we just don't see him play. Like, it
yeah,
sucks,
yeah.
and that worries me.
And
Like, is he gonna be available for the Euros? Hope so, man.
let's see if he's available for the Clasico. I don't know, man.
Give me the updates on the Clasico.
Nacho will play. Nacho is gonna play.
Nacho will
Just a
play.
2-match ban.
Yeah. If it were
Not
me,
for.
I would also appeal to and ask Barca to play with 9 players. I don't feel like we bribed them enough for that one.
I agree. Yeah, as silly as it is, that is one update.
No, can
But
we real talk
mean?
on that for a second?
Mm,
My honest opinion on that is that, like, because I know I know a lot of Barca fans are upset about that, and I don't blame them. And they continually bring up the fact that Lewandowski got 3 matches for the nose thing. I don't think Lewandowski should have even gotten 1 game for that. That's
that was crazy.
the refs being butthurt that, like, Lewandowski, he didn't, like, I don't think he should have been suspended at all. I also don't, while I don't necessarily think Nacho's ban should have been shortened, I also don't really know if that was a 3-match ban. That tackle was like a 3-match worthy ban either. I don't know, but I understand. I just want to say I understand the Barca fan frustration on this particular subject.
I understand it, and what I would say is, like, again, it comes down to whether it's like, what's the criteria? You know what I mean? If that is 2 matches, which I think we can all agree on this as well, it was a very dangerous tackle. It was a very hard committed tackle from Nacho that could have caused a lot of damage. If that's 2 from now on, then let's go with 2. But let's not next week give a player, a 4 match ban for a similar tackle.
There needs to be consistency.
There has to be this fucking consistency, man. It's very frustrating. I don't want to, let it get to me or let it get me riled up. And there's way more different things going on in the world that need people to get properly angry about. And me, for one, I've made the decision to kind of stay away from the drama, just for peace of mind. I kind of need to focus on positives, and with so many negatives around that are unescapable these days, because as soon as you open your phone or flip on the TV, there's just constant bad vibes coming your way, negative energies. And so yeah, I've kind of like I'm gonna refrain from partaking in these debates on Twitter. Well, I already told you, but this Nacho one being a latest one that certainly kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I'm like, take 10 breaths, put the phone away, and look forward to talking to Kiyan about the illustrious histories of our 2 clubs. One starting in 1899, 1902, and take it from there. But consistency and clarification would be very much appreciated for everybody, coaches, players, and fans alike.
I can't imagine the scenes if Nacho scores in Clasico. Like,
Oh my god.
could you imagine the scenes?
Yeah.
I'll sign up for it though. But
Sure.
one more thing before we get to that thing that we said that this podcast was about, that we haven't talked about. I have to just give 10 seconds on Cristiano Ronaldo.
What's up with your boy?
He is now the highest goal scorer in 2023. More goals than Haaland, more goals than Mbappe. And he has now scored at least 100 goals in 3 different decades, which is mind-blowing statistic to me. And also, for 10 years straight, this was just something that was brought to my attention. This part is nothing new. But he averaged 55 goals per year for 10 years. And
Wow.
I just wanted to give like an ode to Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, that's just, I don't care, like, even if he's playing in Saudi, even if he's well, that's it. Even if he's playing in Saudi, the fact that he's 38 and doing this is incredible. Because when I'm 38, I'll probably be like eating cake somewhere and accomplishing nothing. So, respect.
God damn, boy, how young are you? When I'm 38. Fucking Mr. 42 sitting over here. I'm thinking that when I'm 38.
I turned 36 on the day of the Clasico. So I don't know how this happens, but every single year on October 28th, I have a Clasico on my birthday. My birthday is always Clasico day. So
it's funny how that always is, huh?
I always either have a terrible birthday or a great birthday every single year, which is great. It's a curse that God has given me. So,
well, I for one can't wait. It's 2 weeks away. Monj week it is. Let's hope we can get as many players fit for that one as possible because I'm looking forward to it, man.
Oh yeah, we forgot to address that. So what are the updates on
right,
all your
updates.
players?
I got no fucking clue. Let's go check it out on transfer.
Well, everyone can do that. So the list of players is Lewandowski, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Pedri,
maybe. It's like Araujo,
is that it,
I guess,
actually?
will. Let's see. I mean, Rafinha, I think, is still injured.
Did Araujo
Lamine
go
Yamal
with
is
Uruguay
injured. I gotta plead ignorance, my friend.
You don't work for Barca anymore.
No. So here we go. Koundé's injured. Balde's injured.
Balde?
Yes. Yeah, he didn't play for Spain. Lamine Yamal is injured. Rafinha's injured. Lewandowski's injured. Pedri's injured. Sergio Roberto's injured. Frankie de Jong is injured. Jesus Christ. We might as well fucking just not play this game.
Stop it.
Oh my God, dude. Are you kidding?
Just
did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Koundé, Balde,
I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to hear the
Pedri, Frankie de Jong, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, and Lewandowski. And you're saying no excuses. There's no excuses. This is fact. This is injuries.
It's a fact, but I just don't want to hear complaints. Just as a reminder, Courtois and Militao are out for the season. Our best defender and our best goalkeeper, the guy who literally saves our ass, they're out. And don't want to hear it. All right.
This is not nice. If this is gonna be the fucking state of affairs come Clasico, I might not even watch it. This is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous, man. Did you hear the list I just read out?
First of all, we don't know what the situation will be on the 28th, which is still a long time away. So let's just pump the brakes and see what happens then. Players will miraculously recover, and God forbid, maybe Real Madrid will also lose their players too. There's a lot of time left for a lot of things to happen. So let's wait.
Well, seeing as the last time we faced each other, we were able to beat you after a serious case of diarrhea. There's always hope, I guess.
There you go.
There's always hope.
There you go. There. See, I didn't even need to say anything to make you feel better about yourself. You did it all by yourself.
Aren't you proud?
I'm very proud. So I'm very excited to vehemently debate against you with our players versus your players.
Yes.
From 1899 to 1928.
This is going to be fun.
So why don't you give me a brief history? I guess, let me just set up some context for the listeners. Football was obviously very different back then.
Really?
Many of the rules that exist today didn't exist back then. For example, goalkeepers were allowed to handle the ball outside the box up until 1912, I think it was. There were no such thing as like offsides. Offsides from throw-ins. That wasn't banned until 1920. So you could throw it to anyone and they could be standing anywhere. And there was just, like, I often tell this story. When Arthur Johnson came to Real Madrid, he came at a time where, like, there was no order, there was no coach. The players would be in an official Real Madrid game, it was called Madrid FC back then, they would pick the starting lineup like as the referee was like, okay, let's start. Like the whistle was about to blow, they would be like, okay, you play here, you play here, you play there. The goalkeeper would sit in a lawn chair and drink beers. And then when an attack came, he would throw his lawn chair in the net, stand up, and try to save it. This is Real Madrid. It's incredible. Like, it's really, really fascinating.
I like that image.
Yeah. And so Arthur Johnson came in like with these revolutionary ideas and was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to decide the starting lineup before the game starts. And we're not going to have lawn chairs for the goalkeeper. Like, he has to be alert and awake and ready to go. And I went through for my book and actually asked Real Madrid's archive department to do a deep dive for me and find some more information about who scored, what was the match log, and they don't even have most of the information. We don't know the exact scores of some of the games. We also don't know who scored in those games. So we don't even have accurate goal scoring statistics. That's the kind of era we're talking about here. So I just wanted to give some context.
Well, I thought you'd start your context or your history lesson with the fact that one of your two founders was a Catalan. That was everybody knows. I feel knows and always makes fun of the fact that Barca was founded by a Swiss, Johan Gamper. But I feel like not enough people or not enough times. It's not reiterate enough times the fact that the first president for Real Madrid was a Catalan, and I think that's just lovely. I think that's lovely. Oh, he's probably a perico, so.
The thing is, back then, back then also, Diego, it was more of like a casual football team than an official.
Yeah, of course.
La Liga didn't exist until 1928. Real Madrid and Barcelona almost never played against each other. The Copa del Rey was essentially three teams. It was Real Madrid, Athletic Club, and Espanyol. It was a three-team tournament.
Yeah.
We would never go as far to play Barcelona all the way over there. It just never would happen.
The infrastructure, the costs, it was very complicated. I did find some very interesting information on DAZN or DAZN, whatever.com.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when the first Clasico was played?
Probably, but I can't remember.
So it was the
1911?
1902, my friend, the year that you guys were found. Okay. Yeah, founded. Didn't know that. It was the Copa Coronación of 1902, and Barca were invited on the 13th of May 1902 on a Tuesday to play in front of 2,000 spectators, which was the first recorded Madrid-Barca or Barca-Madrid, in this case Madrid-Barca. I have the starting 11s, which include both of our founders. There's at least for Palacios in your case and Gamper in ours. And the result was 3-1 Barca with Arthur Johnson scoring for you guys.
Yeah,
the one goal.
One of the greats.
And a brace by Viti Meyer and Udo Steinberg for another goal by Udo Steinberg for Barca, a squad that had 6 foreign players, including Johan Gamper. And that was the first recorded Clasico. Now, as you mentioned, there was no national league, and these two teams didn't start playing more competitively and consistently against each other until the start of La Liga, which you said was 1929 and 28-29. I think it was 29-30 actually, Kiyan. I think the first league campaign 29-30.
I thought it was 28-29, but
because Barca, from my research, won the first edition of La Liga, but now we're jumping until the end. But at least from what I found, the 1929 league, which started on the 10th of February of 1929 and finished on the 23rd of June of 1929, was won by Barca in the following league campaign.
Yeah, 1929.
Was won by Maji. Actually, that is incorrect. It's 31-32. So which was the sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so the 31-32 league campaign, which started November 22nd of 31 and finished the April 3rd of 32, was won by Real Madrid. But I don't know if there was a league campaign in between, as in, like 30-31, excuse me. Or just 31.
No, there was. So what happened was, so the reason why we kind of chose 1928 as the cutoff for this particular exercise was because that was the last year
before
it was like, before that it was nothing official. 1929 is the first campaign. Barca wins it, and then it goes on for.
There must be 1930, like a similar format, because 1929 was just in 1 year, as I just read out. So it must have been similar for 1930 before the 31-32 campaign was over the stretch of, let's say, over the course of 2 different years.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, so
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. This
is starting out well.
No, it's actually really interesting. Like look, like no one is going to just walk through this and get it all right seamlessly. It was literally 400 years ago. But that one did conclude in 1929. And it's partly because I think it started early and it ended in the summertime, like in June.
Yeah. So February it started, and then June it finished.
Yeah. Whereas the other ones were kind of over the system that we have now, which is over the course of 2 calendar years. So 1929 to 1930, that's one season, and so forth. Then, of course, like way beyond that, there's a 3-year hiatus because of the Civil War, but that's beyond the time range we're covering. So
starting chronologically, no, I think the first. So there was, as you pointed out, Kiyan. So I'll just jump in here, kind of run with it, and then you jump in where you see fit. But what you pointed out at the beginning, I think, is crucial. The fact that domestically teams didn't play much against each other. There was more regional. It was more of a regional campaigns, competitions that clubs would partake in. So Barça would predominantly play in Copa Cataluñas. Madrid, on the other hand, played more within the region of Madrid. Campeonato de Madrid, I believe it was called, or the Campeonato Regional de Madrid. And from the get-go, I would say both Barça and Madrid were very successful regionally. Barça going on to win, the vast majority. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the regional Catalan championships, along with Copa de Cataluñas and Super Copa de Cataluñas. Sorry, no, that's much later. Scratch that. Whereas Madrid was very successful from its inception in the Campeonato de Madrid, winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. I think what is more interesting, though, was that could be considered more of a league campaign or a domestic campaign, was the Copa del Reyes, and there Madrid came out of the gates flying in your favorite competition, Kiyan, because you guys went on to win that. You guys had a bit of a stronghold. You went on to win that 4 times back to back, and it wasn't until 1910. So really, I kind of after the first decade that Barça started to win the Copa del Rey competition. But so and those were also the few times that a Barça and Madrid would face each other in those kind of competitions.
Yeah, and when you mentioned Arthur Johnson as the goal scorer in that first Clasico, I did know that the first Clasico was at that time, because I literally just pressed Control F in my book and I literally wrote about it. I just forgot.
Okay.
But the funny thing about that is that it was not only the first Clasico, it was also the first official Real Madrid game at that tournament. And one of the first Real Madrid games in history. And Arthur Johnson also is regarded as the first goal scorer in Real Madrid history. It's kind of fuzzy because there's the official game and then there's the first game. Arthur Johnson is noted with the first goal in Real Madrid history. And throughout all these years, like I actually, again, like I did this exercise a little bit differently than you, and that I actually came in with a combined Real Madrid Barcelona 11 that is irrefutable, indisputable.
That's cool. You have to read that out, yes or yes.
Yeah, I will. But there's two stars that we had during that time that are noteworthy. One is Arthur Johnson, and the other one is Santiago Bernabeu Yeste, who, of course, the stadium is named after, and he was one of the more iconic presidents. But also notably and often forgotten, he was a really good striker and was the main goal scorer of his time for Real Madrid. And here's a stat that will blow you away. Santiago Bernabeu scored 2 hat-tricks in 2 separate Clásicos. And to this day, he is one of only 3 players to do so.
Wow.
Can you guess the other 2?
Messi.
Yeah.
Cristiano.
Nope, he never did it.
Give me a minute, huh? I will know.
Maybe. He is one of the greatest strikers in football history, but he did not play for your team.
Should he have? Was he almost going to?
No.
It's not Di Stefano.
Not Di Stefano, no.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Go ahead.
Puskás.
Okay.
Yeah. So Puskás, Messi, and Bernabeu are the only 3 players in football history to have scored 2 hat-tricks in 2 separate Clásicos. So here's my 11. Combined 11. Real Madrid and Barcelona combined. They're all Real Madrid players. This is indisputable, irrefutable. It's not up for debate. The formation is a 0-3-1-3-3. At first, I didn't have a goalkeeper. It was just defenders. It was no defenders and no goalkeepers. It was just midfielders and attackers. But what I decided to do was put Arthur Johnson in nets because he actually played as both goalkeeper and striker. So Arthur Johnson. And I just realized I have one extra player, so I'm going to scratch the least noteworthy player. Okay. So no defenders, 1 goalkeeper. So it goes 0-3-1-3-3. My 3 midfielders are Sotero Aranguren, who is the first symbol, like the Sergio Ramos of his time. He has a statue at Valdebebas. When you walk in, you'll see his statue there. Then we got Feliciano Rey, who can score goals from midfield. Alberto Machin Barrena. He's the captain. He had 8 appearances for Real Madrid. They all came in the cup. Ricardo Alvarez. Then we have René Petit, who has an iconic goal where in the 1917 Spanish Cup final, he dribbles the whole team and scores. That's the equalizer, and then later Real Madrid win the game. Up top, Jose Maria, who was arguably the MVP in the 1917 Copa. He had 4 goals, including the game winner versus España FC in the semifinals. Santiago Bernabeu as the main striker. Antonio Neira behind him, who's been in 3 Copa finals, won 2 of them. Armando Giro and Manuel Posada. I don't know how many players that is now. I may have done 12, 13, or 8. I'm not sure. But that's the list. And they're all Real Madrid players. I
was going to say, that's all Madridistas. Well, I'm surprised you don't have Paulinho Alcantara in there, one of the most legendary and honored by the club, prolific goal scorer of the time.
Can't do it in big games. Had a
well, let
weak
me
foot.
say, he was sick off the dribble. Listen, there's no way that you can refute the mere fact that you are missing on players, the likes of. I'm a little bit surprised you don't have Zamora in there though. Ricardo Zamora.
That was a
Well,
mistake, actually. But the thing is, he could
because it
he
was
could
like
make either
Paulinho
team.
Alcantara. Yeah, but Paulinho Alcantara and Ricardo Zamora was like they were just amazing. He was an exceptional goalkeeper and actually later joined Real Madrid
Yeah.
and proved
Zamora
his
didn't
worth.
join us until 1930, but he was with you guys till 1922, and then went to Espanyol.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those two should have been in there. You didn't name Palacios, which
I think
he was a player president. I think that you would have given him an honorary
he
role.
was one of the players I scratched off because I had too many players.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Alfredo Massana, Ame Chazurra, Paco Bru, Jack Greenwell, he became a coach later as well in 1917. Joan Gamper, come on, our creator, our president, who unfortunately committed suicide in 1930, marking an end to his legacy as a foundational figure of the club. But we had Heatmen. We won endless amounts of Copa Cataluñas. We won 6 Copa del Reys.
Who were you guys playing
4
against?
Pyrenees Cup.
How many teams were in that?
In the Copa Cataluña?
Yeah.
I think it was 10.
Was it just you guys?
No, I think there
Just
were
an
10.
inter-squad scrimmage?
Can I find out how many teams? I think I read 10 somewhere.
Wow.
I'll fish it up. Yeah, a whole 10. And we laid the foundation to the golden era that was that was about to be bestowed upon us. That's it, man. I mean, the 4 Pyrenees Cups, the victory of but then we're already crossing into the first league campaign. But winning the inaugural Spanish league campaign, thought was pretty cool. But I kind of left that for the next period. This one, it was tough, obviously. Just in particular when it came to comparing the two. I later, upon my research, found a page where it has actually each season with the amount of games played and goals scored, and I was going to see if I could do a comparison from a goal scoring perspective between the two teams. But I would say that the success, or let's say, yeah, it was pretty similar from a head-to-head perspective in terms of the trophies we won, the types of trophies. In your case, the what did I say it was called? The Campeonato de la Región de Madrid, and the Copa Cataluñas, or the Campeonato de Cataluña. It seems like there was pretty much a balanced affairs at the two clubs at the time. I would say that you guys were maybe more equipped and better, came off to a better start, given the Copa del Rey titles that you guys won 4 years in a row. So maybe the edge, you could argue, has Real Madrid in terms of a team that is stronger, that was more prepared to play additional competitions besides just the regional competitions that both our clubs were partaking in. And yeah, it was and that's kind of it. But we take the first Clasico. I'm happy with that too.
This is a great little appetizer before we have to start debating who starts in midfield between Iniesta, Modric, Kroos, and Xavi.
I like how you said Alcantara there had a weak foot. not up to scratch in the big games.
And it's once you do the deep dive, you realize that these players had imperfections, just like the players of modern day, and much like Barca's DNA is now, just can't cut it in big games. But you guys could pass the ball to death against small Spanish teams, but you can't. Once you came up against the giants, it was just a different kind of mentality that you guys lacked.
You're talking absolute shit. And Paulinho Alcantara deserves definitely. If you like your history, you should look him up a little bit. He was all right. Could do a thing or two.
Did he have any relation to Thiago? No, I'm serious. Like sometimes you just get like they're like descendants. Like like Marcos Llorente is like uncle, our great grandfather, our grandfather. I can't remember. It was Paco Gento.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if the family Alcantara, if they had roots in Brazil, then I guess. I mean, his name is Paulinho Alcantara. I mean, it's possible, right? He was from the Philippines, though. Originally Filipino.
Yeah, interesting. And Real Madrid had a lot of Cuban players. It's very interesting, and it's just really cool. Like when you progress through history, the eras of like different kinds of nationalities. Of course, in like the 50s, we were able to sign a bunch of international players, and then they had the rule. They changed the rule in the 60s on foreign players, and you were only allowed to have like a couple. And basically, because of that, like Real Madrid went into the Yaya era, which is basically the 60s version of Punta del Buitre, where they promoted the entire youth team. Everyone was Spanish. And it's kind of interesting to kind of track those different eras. So you'll have like a diverse period, and then you'll have an all-Spanish period, and it kind of fluctuates. Diego.
What would you say from that time was sort of the best era? Like if I were looking at it now, like the golden age. Yeah, from the beginning until 1928. Like for me, it would be looking at it now. You're like from 23 to 29, including 29, obviously winning. So let's say 28.
Yeah.
Barca winning the Copa del Reyes there, dominating. Yeah, the Copa del Reyes, dominating the Campeonats de Catalunya. Even though they went through like political repercussions, because in 1925 the crowd de los Corts jeered the Spanish national anthem, leading to a stadium closure for how long? For 6 months, and Gamper's resignation eventually. That I think was the more probably the standout period, or the standout years of those early years of the early 3 decades for Barca since its inception in 1899, given the fact that it took quite a while before Barca started to win again the Copa del Rey victories, although most notably here from 1910 to 1930, that's when also Barca started winning Copa del Reyes. But I would say from the 3 decades, 23 to 28, 29 would be the most successful of those 3 decades.
I don't know, man. Like asking me,
like when did you win? Like the most cups won?
Diego, I don't know if you realize what you're asking me, but asking me like what's the best period Real Madrid had from 1902 to 1928 is a bit like asking like what was the best game of FIFA I played in 2002 on Nintendo 64.
I'm just saying, like console. Looking at your trophy, I'll do it for you.
No, but I'm telling you, like we played 8 games a year. Like I have no idea. Like I guess like towards probably the end of the eras, because we started to play more games. Like like, for example, the first season we played more than 8 games was 1926. So I'll go with that one because we doubled the amount of games we played. We played 16 games instead of 8. And we scored 38 goals. And we won the championship. I guess it's that one.
Okay. I think you're underestimating those early years, man. From like again 1905 to 1908.
But look at this. Okay, we won the double in the 1904-1905 season. We won the double. Guess how many games we played that season?
All right. Okay.
One game. So I don't even know how we won a double.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Maybe I don't know. I think it was because it was like one.
This is a pointless exercise.
That's what I mean. But what would be great is that we'll tell our social media. How did you play
one game?
We'll tell our social media guy, Hismedi, if you're listening to this, clip this, but make it like super serious. So post it on TikTok. It's like this enraged debate about which season was better, 1904 or 1905. No, hold on. Here it is. 3, 2. Hismedi, clip this. 3, 2, 1. Bro, Real Madrid 1905 to 1906. We scored 7 goals in one game. We won the double. That is greater than anything Barcelona has achieved in their history. There it is. TikTok clip.
Well, I'll refute that by saying that Barca.
How many times is Alcantara going to choke in a big game?
That is absolute sheer and utter bull. You need to pay respects to Alcantara and place the importance, the significance of the fact that Barca had regional dominance for many, many years for the Campeonatos de Catalunya and the Copa del Reis, okay? You could argue most notably between 1910 until 1913. But on top of that, we also won prestigious tournaments like the Pyrenees Cup and other international competitions several times, man. Several times. And that's even before getting into the golden age of 1923 to 1929. Because it's game, set, and match, bro. It's over. On top of all the political repercussions that we were facing, we were winning Copa del Rey titles back to back. We achieved significant success in the Campeonatos de Catalunya, Copa del Rey titles, and we were dominating Spanish football. It's over. And I'm done with it.
Now tell me what happened when the European Championship was introduced. Where did all those games you played against Spanish teams, dominating teams in Catalonia, what happened when you had to go into the European stage? 1955, 1956, 1957, 1958. Where was Alcantara? Disappeared.
The poor man was retired.
That's the difference between Alcantara and Cristiano Ronaldo. If he had it taken care of himself like Cristiano did, he would have been playing until he was 60. Difference in mentality. Rest in peace, Alcantara. Nothing but respect, my guy.
Oh, boy.
I have another podcast starting soon, bro. We're going to talk about the Beckham documentary over on the Managing Madrid podcast.
Dude, I meant to ask you about that.
Yeah.
We're actually on to the last episode.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
I've only seen the first episode so far. So we're doing a podcast on that episode, but we'll do it
like a last dance sort of each episode.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we'll try to do it that way. It seems interesting so far. I like it. Enjoying it.
Yeah, it's one of those pods that, the wife enjoys as well.
Yeah. I like that. That was smart. They were able to get 2 audiences in one.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it was smart.
Did I say pod or I meant to say doc?
Yeah, doc. Yeah.
All right,
still one of the biggest what ifs. I don't know if they talk about it in the doc, but he was so close to going to Barca, man.
Yeah, they mention it. I won't spoil it. It's the thing is, there's no spoiler. They mention it, and then he was like, but I always wanted to go to Madrid, and then they don't talk about it again. But you see the press conference where Laporta makes that announcement, and Fergie mentions it, and then Beckham was like, for me it was always Madrid. So they kind of gloss over it.
Incredible what if.
Yeah,
Because it would mean you wouldn't have gotten Ronaldinho.
correct.
And maybe we would have. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thank God that didn't happen. Because I really enjoy. You'll particularly enjoy the end of this docu-series when the Camacho, Luxemburgo, Queiroz era. Those are fantastic
ready to forget
moments.
that era, man.
Fantastic moments. I really enjoyed the end of this docu-series.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
man.
look forward to the rest of it. All right, bro. Good chatting.
Much love. Good chatting.
All right, man.
And we'll talk the end of the week.
Okay, man. By the way, I don't know. Yeah, we're going to be back. Patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. We're doing an episode this week for our patrons. They can submit questions. And that's our Patreon.
1929 to 1940. Coming at you.
Yeah.
It's the next decade.
Awesome. Look forward to it. All right, bro. Good
Peace.
chatting. Peace out.
You too. Ciao.